Hello, welcome back to the Road to Episode 7, my ongoing series where I chart the road to the release of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens on December 16th, 17th and 18th, 2015, depending on where you are in the world. And in this one, deep breath, I'm going to be talking about the trailer music, which, again, I was like, oh, John Williams, new score, amazing, and I was like, oh, it wasn't John Williams. You know, it's kind of disappointing, but either way I just said, you know, regardless, the music was fantastic, and some of the names have started coming out now. There's a guy, I think, John Samuel Hansen or something like that. Probably got that wrong, I should have had it noted down. Frederick Lloyd is definitely another guy who worked on like one half and then someone worked on another half. Maybe there's other people involved. So it's kind of a hodgepodge really, people coming together from different, you know, different composers and stuff, I guess, putting the music together and incorporating the Force theme, or Han and Leia's love theme, whatever you want to call it, from Empire Strikes Back, and you know, the new pieces as well. Again, people were saying that the opening of the trailer, like the gling, gling, like the kind of the piano that comes in at the beginning of the trailer, was very much kind of like a modern movie trailer, like things we've seen before in trailers like Dark Knight Rises and things like that. So I guess that kind of explains it, and that it isn't John Williams stuff, but I still love the trailer music. And one thing I want to say is that I hope to hell that Disney released the trailers of the Force Awakens on the Blu-ray, because when Disney released Age of Ultron, they didn't put any of the trailers on. And that's okay, but I guess because none of those trailers were amazing. But I think the Star Wars trailers have just been so good, it'd be great to own them in full, you know, glorious 1080p, high definition. I really hope they put that on the Blu-ray. I'm not sure they will, because I guess it's more, Lucasfilm will probably be involved in that as well, I'm hoping anyway. So yeah, the trailer music, I want to talk about that, just to clarify that more than one person put that together, which is kind of interesting. And also, speaking of music, they're releasing the whole soundtrack of the past 6 Star Wars films on vinyl. They're re-releasing them. Now, Episode 1, Episode 1 and 2, I think? I'm not sure. Maybe it was just Episode 1 got released on vinyl originally, but either, well, 3 definitely didn't. Episode 3 definitely did not get released on vinyl. Maybe Episode 2 either. So those 2 or 1, I forget which, but definitely Episode 3 has never been released on vinyl before, so that's going to be new. And it's a box set that has, you know, all 6, and it reproduces the look of the original pressings. Like the Episode 1 looks just like the original vinyl, and the same with Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. And I love the Return of the Jedi cover for the vinyl. It's the my favourite poster from the film, which is just the hand holding up the lightsaber. I think anyway, that's what it looked like from the picture on Amazon. It's coming out in January. Very expensive, obviously, but it's a really cool kind of box set, and you know, if I had, you know, endless money, and if money did grow on trees, as they always say, I definitely would be picking that up, because I'm kind of a vinyl collector. I have a small but modest collection. I love vinyl, but just haven't really got the capacity to collect them, really. I mean, they're not a priority for me. You know, I collect Blu-rays, and you know, vinyl are great, but I can't do both, basically. And also, I don't have a record player here in Norway, so it would be pointless anyway. But I think it's really cool and worth mentioning as well. And then the review for this episode will be the final part of Shattered Empire, the 4-issue series. Again, I talked about it before. If you haven't seen the previous videos where I reviewed the issue 1, 2, and 3, issue 4, again, it's very, very flowing. All 4 issues. We see the continuation and conclusion of Shara Bay's story arc over the Shattered Empire series. We have Luke Skywalker in this one. She basically has decided she's going to pack it in, Shara Bay. She's going to go back and find somewhere to live and settle down with Kez Dameron, her husband, and Poe Dameron, her son, who will be in Episode 7, played by Oscar Isaac. And she kind of decides to do one more last mission, kind of, you know, 2 days to retirement. And it's Luke Skywalker has requested someone to kind of help him on a mission. And so she goes and she meets him, and they kind of had an interaction in the first issue, and so that was kind of interesting. Again, if you don't want to be spoiled anything, then turn the video off, and thank you for watching. Again, there's nothing really major to spoil in these comics, really, but just if you don't want any of the story beats, basically. Yeah, they had an encounter in the first issue where he was flying out the Imperial shuttle when the Death Star was exploding, and she was firing at him, and he's like, whoa, whoa, wait, it's Commander Skywalker. So he's like, wait, have we met before, kind of thing? And she's like, oh yeah, I saved you, you know, I covered you at the end of that moment there, at the Death Star blowing up. And he's like, that's interesting, and because he sent, I think he sent R2-D2 off to get someone. I read these issues about a week ago. So she goes off with him to get on this mission. She disguises herself as Imperial Commander Alicia Beck, who was a character in the Han Solo and Chewbacca adventure novel Smuggler's Run, which I love. That was my favorite book so far. My favorite thing, the whole Journey to the Force Awakens thing, you know, so far, I think. Well, I guess so far, I've read pretty much all of it now, but I love that one, and Alicia Beck was an interesting character, and so we have Shara Bey dressed up in Imperial uniform, and they sneak into this Imperial research facility, and then the officer's like, well, if you've done your research, you know that, you know, Alicia Beck only has one eye, which is really cool again, because if you've read Smuggler's Run, you know that, and you're like, ah, yeah. And basically they've come to this research facility where the Emperor has kept these 2 trees that were from some Jedi temple or something, and Luke has taken them back, basically. So Luke gets his lightsaber out, he's wearing the same outfit from Return of the Jedi, he's like, you know, blocking all the blasters and stuff, and Shara Bey grabs the trees, and then they take off, and it's a cool little action scene. And Luke's like, well, I was only expecting there to be 1 tree, so you can take this one. And that's the end of the whole story, is Shara Bey and Kez Dameron planting this tree wherever they settled, potentially on the planet we're going to see in The Force Awakens, and they, you know, they go off and live the rest of their life, basically. So we don't know what happens to them after that. A lot of people were speculating we were going to see the death of Shara Bey and Kez Dameron, and Poe Dameron be kind of raised by Han and Leia or something. So that's not the case. I liked it a lot. It was a nice happy ending. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest, and I found it quite interesting. Just seeing, you know, the fact that it wasn't all, you know, it wasn't all just kind of rosy and happy after Return of the Jedi. There was still work to be done. There was still wars to fight, basically, from these remnants of the Empire who still wanted to fight, even though the Emperor was gone. And there's a really cool bit actually in one of the issues where one of the Imperial officers is like, the Emperor's dead, isn't he? I'm paraphrasing heavily here, but he's like, the Emperor is dead, isn't he? And the other one was like, if you say that again, that's treason, you know. So they're almost operating under that. He's not dead, and we're going to carry on doing our job, you know, the Operation Cinder and all that stuff. Yeah, so I enjoyed it overall. I still felt like just part of it didn't connect with me, to be honest, but it was still enjoyable. I'd read it again. I definitely would pick up the collected form of it, the trade paperback or whatever, in the future. I read these digitally, by the way. So yeah, I could definitely see myself picking that up and reading it again in the future. It was a very decent story arc. I'm interested by those trees though. Like, why did the Emperor have these trees that were from a Jedi temple or something like that, and they're powerful with the Force? And whether that comes into play, probably not, but I found that to be interesting, and then it just kind of wasn't quite, I didn't quite get the full explanation I wanted from that, I guess. So yeah, overall though, I highly recommend Shattered Empire. A very cool little comic book series, and you know, they're doing loads of comics now. They got the Darth Vader run, they got Chewbacca, I think, C-3PO, so there's all sorts of stuff, and I might get into those in future videos. We'll see. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.
I don't know, Pod Second.